I think I figured it out. I think I figured it out. Okay, now I'm on Google Hangout. I think it's going to start, although why does it still say waiting for Ask a Mortician over here? Oh, there she is. It's me. Yes. Oh my God, you guys, today has just been a whole thing. Like, if it would have been weird if I had just been able to pop on to the live stream and click on the live stream and have a normal day and something work normal for me today. That would just be too much to ask. But anyway, here we are. It looks like you're all saying hi, so it looks like it's working. That is excellent news. Welcome everyone to your live stream. And now we're just relaxed. The tension is gone. I was also, I don't know if you saw this in the note that I put up, but I was hiccuping wildly up until about 4 or 5 minutes ago. And I was, can I go on? Can I truly go on like this? What will the people think of me? What will the masses think of me? And by the masses, I mean the 50 of you that are watching. So first thing I want to show you is something that I got in the mail to my funeral home, which is entitled Spirits of the Dead. Can they help or harm you? Do they really exist? And this, when I got it, I was like, this looks like a Jehovah's Witness thing. And it is a Jehovah's Witness thing. I think that they figured out that I was sort of the deaf person. And they were like, oh, I have a death-related pamphlet for you. So let's get some of the pictures in here are so good. Opens with this guy. I really like him. He really has oh, he does not like the spirits of the dead. He is not a fan. What are the contents here? Spirits have not lived and died on Earth. That's just a woman with tomatoes. That doesn't really invoke spirits to me, but millions of spirit creatures. Rebellion in the spirit realm. There's a fun kind of Adam and Eve vibe to that. Oh, this is where it gets good. This is where it like takes a turn for the juicy. The demons are killers. Let me know if you want any more information on any part of these. The demons falsely claim the dead are alive, illustrated by zebras, which is the obvious thing you would illustrate that with. Let's see, what else? The demons encourage rebellion against God. Demons. Oh, Ouija boards. That definitely will do it, I think. Serve Jehovah, not Satan. This guy is happy to. This guy is ready to go. Oh, and then it's just kind of more like marvelous future, become a Jehovah's Witness. Yay! Yeah, I mean, the pictures in here are just so good. Oh, this guy the demons were persecuting him. He used sedatives. And then he, you know, joined the Jehovah's Witnesses, and there we go. Yeah, so if you're interested, also this woman is very scary. To be fair, if she came up and was like, ah! I would not be happy with that either. Anyway, so that's my very clever introduction that I came up with. So let me go back and look at some of the comments. I see that you were all waiting for me. Thank you for waiting. I'm sorry about that. Apologies. Oh, you had some suggestions. That's excellent. And then you said, hi, hello. Yeah, let's take some questions. I will take questions about death. I will take questions about me. I will also take questions about the spirits of the dead. So if you have any questions in those categories, I also, for full disclosure, I also got what happens to us when we die in the mail, which I think a lot of people want to know. And I think most people just did not understand that all they needed to do was pick up this pamphlet and all would be revealed. So Good to know. This one definitely does not have the picture game of spirits of the dead. This one's just like butterflies and happy multicultural people being very happy in their religion, which is just not, it doesn't have the punch that Spirits of the Dead gave us, you know? Okay, I'm loving the pamphlet review. Thank you, Jessica, because that's what I got today. It's been a long day, and what I got is pamphlet review. That's what I have to offer the fine people of Patreon. Okay, let's refresh the Patreon page. Of course, the internet is being slow too. Waiting on hiccups. Oh, here's a good question. Caitlin, I was looking at Joshua Tree. Are they a traditional memorial park with a green burial section? So that is a really good question. So for our funeral home, the green burial cemetery that we work with is called Joshua Tree. And there are actually 2 technically green burial grounds in Southern California. There is Woodlawn Cemetery in Santa Monica, and there is Joshua Tree, which is out in the desert. And you might be wondering, Caitlin, Santa Monica is right in Los Angeles. Why don't you use Woodlawn Cemetery instead of Joshua Tree? Both of them technically are larger cemeteries that have set aside this space for green burials for families who just want a burial with, you know, if you like me enough to donate to the Patreon, you probably know what a green burial is. I don't need to go over that. But what they do is each of these places have cordoned off an area for families to have green burials, but 2 things. One, Woodlawn Cemetery in Santa Monica has a their thought on it is, well, if we have to do this green burial section, we're going to charge the family a lot more. We're going to charge, a normal burial might be something like $9,000, but we're going to charge $11,000 for a green burial, which is ludicrous because it's less expensive, it takes less manpower, you're just losing money because you don't get to sell the family as many things. So just between you and me, friends, I don't love what they're doing there. And plus it's like $11,000 or more to be buried there. Whereas at Joshua Tree, not only is the landscape much wilder and much more beautiful, they set aside this beautiful area of basically in the desert for natural burials. And we're talking much more like $4,000 or $5,000. So by going out into the desert, you get a much more beautiful place to be buried, and you save, you know, half the price, many thousands of dollars by doing that. So that's why we use Joshua Tree, but it is technically part of a larger memorial park. But it's so interesting to me because you see it and you see the memorial park, and no, you know, if you want to be buried there, that's fine, but it's like this very sort of astroturfy looking grass and normal looking headstones, and you can be buried there, or you can be buried out like with the actual Joshua trees in the desert and like disappear in the dirt below. And that's just much more romantic to me. But then again, I'm a green burial person, so I think stuff like that, things that happen in my mind. Danielle says, I was wondering what type of makeup is used when preparing a corpse. Is it special corpse makeup, Maybelline, or paint spray like in Death Becomes Her? And then follow up, someone said, have you heard they're making a musical out of Death Becomes Her? Just a lot of Death Becomes Her questions today. Well, first of all, for the makeup, the answer is all 3. I think it kind of depends on how serious your mortuary is about makeup, which, by the way, that's all my makeup there. I managed to not close that up or put that away before this because I'm a professional. Not that this is my house, by the way. That's not our corpse makeup that I just keep in this room. It totally depends. So I've in mortuary school, they make it seem like everything you do makeup-wise is going to be with this professional makeup. You know, they have these professional makeup kits, and you get these special brushes, and on an embalmed body, you stipple this special makeup onto the body or brush on this special makeup. In the real world of funeral homes, I have not found that to be the case. I have found the case to be your boss tells you, oh, this woman is slightly darker than most of the women we use. Why don't you go pick up some drugstore Maybelline to make sure we have the full range of shades of drugstore Maybelline foundation to work on this body. And I don't know that there is much of a difference. You know that I'm not a huge fan of embalming, so my perception is kind of like, you know, that no matter what you do, if you've embalmed a body, it's gonna look like the makeup is kind of sitting there on top of the skin. So the mortuary that I currently work at, we don't use makeup at all. And so I don't really have to think about it, but you know, the answer to that question is a full range of different kind of makeups. They sell obviously very specialized mortuary makeup, but it's a lot more Maybelline and super glue than they might lead you to believe. Insiders. I'm relocating soon and I don't know if I'll live there forever. Can you put contingencies in your will like bury me at the green cemetery closest to wherever I am when I die? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is that the people who you might want to buy a cemetery plot because you don't know if you're going to live, you know, I don't know, we're such a mobile culture now. Mobile meaning we move around, and mobile like mobile phone culture. And so you could buy a plot. You could buy a plot in a green cemetery and lock it down. I've actually thought about doing that, even though I hopefully will not die for many years, because then if it turns out that the cemetery is popular in the long term, which I hope many of them are, you could sell that plot if you're not going to be able to use it. But yeah, I think you kind of always have to be ready for two things. One, if you really plan on going somewhere and moving somewhere, then wherever you move, when you get there, you're like, okay, here's my green cemetery. I see you, green cemetery. You're over there. You're what I'm going to be buried in, letting all my family know, putting it in the paperwork. And then the other option is if you travel a lot and you move along a lot, move around a lot, you might have to expect that you may have to be cremated. I always think about that when I go to Europe. If I am in Europe, or not necessarily Europe, anywhere international, not specifically Europe, anywhere international, yeah, you know, I want to be buried in this beautiful green ceremony, this beautiful green cemetery, but if I die there, it's not fair to fly my body all the way back. You might just have to cremate me wherever I am and send those ashes back in someone's lap. Devin said, sad face, my question wasn't answered. I don't see your question, Devin. I see you saying, ha ha ha, demon zebras, which is not a question unless it was, ha ha ha, demon zebras? In which case I have no answer. That's, yeah, I don't know. I'm okay with being cremated if it comes to that. Yeah, I mean, I think you should be okay being cremated because it means you died on like a fabulous trip abroad. That's the way I think of it. Okay, let's answer a... Oh, hi, Caitlin. I was wondering if you ever posted your death plan. I've been looking for it, but haven't been able to find it. No, I have not posted my death plan. I did post the video. This is probably what you're referencing. I posted a video where I talked a lot about the death plan, but I didn't actually post the physical death plan. But I'm going to write that down right now because you're right. I should do that. I said I was going to do that. So I'm going to write it on this. Oh, this is so cute. This is a card someone sent. Isn't that nice? It's a kitty. It was not the person who also sent me do Spirits of the Dead. Although wouldn't it be funny if they sent me those things and they were like, hey, it's me. Becky and a cute cat card. But I'm just going to write down death plan on this. Death plan. All right. It's coming. All right. This is a great question that I don't think I actually know the answer to. I've been thinking of donating my body to science. We use cadaver bodies and parts to learn, and I'd love to give back to future students, but I don't want to be embalmed, and I know usually donated bodies are embalmed. Do you know of any way to donate that they would not embalm the body? I mean, the number one thing I can think of is donating to a body farm. Normally at body farms, what they're studying is the effect of an ooey gooey natural body in different environments. You know, what kind of bugs come and eat you, and what are your clothes due to your decomposition, and what is where you're buried due to your decomposition. And they may dig you up and use your bones as a crime scene practice. Like, what would happen if we found this dead body in the woods? How would we train students to set up the crime scene, set up to study and collect the bones and evidence that we find? So that would be my top idea, would be to donate to a body farm instead of a medical school. Because in medical schools, you're pretty much always going to be embalmed because they want to use you for the whole year. They want to keep coming back to the corpse for various anatomical studies and throughout the whole year. So they're trying to keep you around for the longest time possible. And embalming, and they don't just embalm you, they like super embalm you. We're talking like high level chemical formalin fixing you, you know, for the whole year. So if you don't want to be embalmed as much as training future physicians may appeal to you, that may not be the right thing. But at a body farm, you're training future anthropologists. So maybe that's something you're interested in doing. Oh, Rachel, she doesn't see Devin's question either. Don't come for me, Devin. I'm kidding. That's fine. What are your favorite funeral platitudes? I really like platitudes. I think my favorite, I mean, they're my favorite because they're terrible, but my favorite ones would be something like, I think we just so badly want to see the positive, like, especially in America. I know everyone on this live stream is definitely not from America, but we like that kind of posy spin on things. Like, we're always trying, we don't want to say something to someone who just had a tragic death unless we can put a positive spin on it, which is ridiculous. But it's something like, you know, this is going to be for the best, or, you know, he's in a better place, or, what are some other ones? Type out some other ones that are in that vein, that are just like, I'm trying to make myself feel better by saying that it's going to be okay for you. I'm trying to reassure you that it's all going to be okay, because that makes me feel less responsible for the despair that is crackling through the air and through your experience right now. And so anytime you say it's going to be better because someone's dead is not great. Okay. Yeah, he or she is no longer suffering. That's a really good one, I think, because I think he or she is no longer suffering. That's a really good one for the person who's actually grieving to say if they want. Like, that's on them to make that declaration. So I had one person that I went to deliver an urn, and his dad had been dying for like 7 years. Like, it was like a long, protracted, painful death. And he finally died. And the guy asks me really guiltily, he says, I mean, is it okay that I'm sort of relieved that he's dead, that he's no longer going through this anymore? And my response was like, heck yeah, that's okay. Absolutely. Of course you feel that way. Why wouldn't you be happy after all those years of watching this guy suffer to see that he's not doing that anymore. But it would definitely not have been my place to open with this to the grieving son and be like, well, at least he's not suffering anymore. Because that can go really wrong. The person can be like, he was suffering, but he was alive and he was my dad, so suck it. You know, I just think that that's something that a griever can say. Oh yeah, this is really good. I just saw one about Stephen Hawking. He's free now. That's a whole problem. I mean, you might have been seeing this on social media, but you have a certain contingent of people saying like that one like cartoon meme thing that's so awful. That's like Stephen Hawking out of his wheelchair walking towards the cosmos. And it's like, you know, he wasn't like, his disability was not something that trapped him. He obviously succeeded in much of his life, in part because of his disability, and his disability was a big part of his life and his identity. So to be like, oh, now he's skipping through the clouds and he's finally free of his wheelchair and he's doing cartwheels in heaven, like, maybe not helpful. Maybe not helpful. Yeah, I was relieved when my dad died, but I would have felt odd if someone told me I should be relieved. Yeah. Yes, I saw something about Stephen Hawking being among the stars. I like that one. Yeah, I think that it's totally cool to put Stephen Hawking in the stars. Like, wouldn't he want to be in the cosmos? Aren't we all stardust, etc.? But it's the implication that he's in the star now. He's in the stars now because he's free from his wheelchair, which was the only thing holding him back, which is very silly. Okay, let's go back to Patreon questions. Oh, Samantha is looking into Body Farm donation now. Yay, Samantha. Okay, oh, here's a good one. I'm posting on my phone while dropping my kiddos off in Okinawa, Japan. I hope you live in Okinawa. You're not just dropping your kids off there and fleeing. I'm sure that's not what you're saying. Here's a question. I understand that humans can't be taxidermied, but what about freeze-dried? It's one form of preservation I haven't heard you discuss. And she also says, yay, Fernwood, that's where I want to go. Fernwood is where I would be buying a plot if I bought a plot for Green Burial now. So freeze drying, I am so interested in it. It's called Promession. It's was done by these two Swedish designers. It's such an interesting idea. It seems like a really green way to go. Excuse you, helicopter. Move along. Move along. We were having a meeting at the funeral home today, and these three very intense military planes, like I'd never seen planes like this before, were just flying directly at our window, and I kind of looked out and I was like, does anybody see those planes? And they kept flying and the whole building shook when they flew by. It was very post-apocalyptic. I hope I do not see those planes ever again. That's off track. Promession, corpse freeze drying. So there's this process that they take the body, they essentially freeze dry it, and then they vibrate the frozen freeze dried body, and it disintegrates the body, and it's this kind of organic, similar, a little more, but similar, I guess, to cremated remains. And I think it's a wonderful idea. The reason that I do not talk about it very often is because it's never been tested on a human as of yet. It's not in use anywhere. It's not so, okay, but that's not totally fair, because I do talk a lot about body composting. But I think, and that's not available wildly anywhere either. But body composting I talk about more for two reasons. One is because they have started to do experiments at body farms on body composting, and because Katrina Spade, who's a colleague of mine, who's doing it, lives right here on the West Coast of the US along with me, so it's a lot easier to talk with her and get new information. I have talked to the Promession people before. We have been in contact, but there's just, it's such a cool idea, but there's just not a lot going on right now. And when there is something going on, when they start doing tests on their first dead bodies, when it maybe becomes available somewhere, trust me, I will be right there to explain it and to talk about it and to be really excited about it. I still think it's really cool. I just hate getting people's hopes up if it's not going to happen. The reason that I love talking about aquamation so much is that it is happening. It's starting to happen. It was just legalized in California. It's legalized in new places every year. So aquamation is a very real possibility for the future of green death and the technology. So I feel good promoting it because not only is it already happening, but by promoting it, we can help it happen even more. We can change hearts and minds about dissolving your dead. Okay. I don't think I could shake the impression that I was turning my loved one into astronaut snacks with the freeze drying. I hear you, and this is something people forget, but NASA actually worked with Promession, or Promessa, the company, the freeze drying, the corpse company, back in 2005 to design a death system for a shuttle that was maybe going to Mars. So it was called the Body Back. And what that was a system that if, say, you're on your way to Mars with your fellow astronauts and you have a heart attack or something terrible happens and you die, instead of just pushing you out of the spacecraft, they would put you in a little freeze-dried outside the shuttle bag, reduce you down, and then they could give those remains back to your family when you got back. Presumably not in astronaut ice cream form, but yeah. Astronaut connection. Oh, here's a cool thing. Just a general question to Caitlin. Is it normal to have gone to a college that has an active cemetery? I mentioned this casually, and some people are very weirded out. What college did you go to? That's cool. I think it depends on where you are. In California, that would be really weird. Places in Europe, places on the East Coast with historical cemeteries, not so weird. We pulled off, we were taking a little road trip on the East Coast, where obviously if you live there, you know there are billions of small cemeteries, not billions, hyperbole, many, many small cemeteries everywhere. And some historical / still in use. And we went by this really private bougie high school with like lacrosse players walking by in their uniforms, and there was an active old school New England cemetery right there. So not that weird at all. It was a religious affiliated college, and we had students, faculty, and priests' funerals on campus. That's cool. Question, when are you coming to the UK for a book tour? I don't think I'm coming anytime soon for a book tour. I feel like I may have talked about this in a live stream. Not sponsored by Diet Coke, by the way. But they're very... when my first book came out, the UK was very like, we need to fly you over here and have a whole book tour and get you talking to the press, etc. And this time, not only is my American book was with the same publisher, so everything was very much the same, but my UK book is with the same editor, but she's moved to a new publishing house. And I think their feeling was that my online presence is enough, and I could do interviews over the phone and I can do promotion when I can, and that they don't have to fly my butt all the way over there to the UK, which is a shame. I forget to refresh the Patreon. Here we go. Oh, this is a good question. A bunch of people have been tagging me in this. It's about this preservation of the brain digitally so that you can be recreated. And I'm really interested in this, but I haven't had a chance to really look into it yet. I have a feeling it's going to be something kind of transhumanism-y that I don't really like that much, that I'm not a fan of. But yeah, we'll see. I'll weigh in on it for sure, either on social media or in a video when I've read a little more about it. I want to have more information before I start running my mouth, which doesn't usually stop me, but oh, this is a really good question. Oh, Devin, I don't know if this was your question earlier, but I watched a documentary on the death priest. He helps people who are mentally ill and don't want to live anymore or in chronic pain die. Do you think they should have the right to die if they want to? So I'm actually going to a conference not this weekend, next weekend, called Death in the Americas, that is about right to die legislation all around the world. And this is always really complicated to me to talk about, because I personally, for people with end-stage illnesses, your cancer, your renal failure, your someone who's about to die, I firmly believe that those people should have the right to have life-ending medication prescribed to them by a doctor. They're not suicidal, they don't want to die, they, should be able to not have the stigma of suicide around that. And they should legally be allowed to do this. I firmly believe that, but it gets so much more complicated when you're talking about extending that to people like the mentally ill, or people with chronic pain, or people with chronic disabilities, because even within the same communities, and to be honest, I'm not a member of any of those communities, so I can't speak to it, but you look at a single community, like let's say the disability community, and there are wildly different perspectives. I think we're going to work on a piece on this for the order, because you have some people in the disability or chronic pain community who say, if you allow death with dignity or right to die laws, you're essentially saying you're supporting almost eugenics, essentially. You're supporting people, abusing law, even though there's no evidence in years of data that we have that the law has ever been abused in that way. But you also have people on the exact opposite side of the spectrum who are saying, hey, I have chronic illness, I have chronic pain, I have disability. I have decided that I personally, just for me, do not want to continue in my life this way. I should be extended the same right to end my life and have that autonomy if I want. And who are you to say that I should not have that because you think I should only fit into this little framework of these exact people get to die in this way, and everything else is not death with dignity, it's death with shame. I just spit a little bit, apologies. But yeah, I think that it's really complicated. I think that I just try to listen and bring these up every time that I'm talking about it, because it's important to keep these dialogues going. And try and separate from fact from fiction as to what the actual laws that we have in place now, in places like Washington and Oregon and California, what those actual laws say and what they actually mean, what they do and do not cover, and what they do and do not allow. But as far as the other things, I don't know that at this point I really want to have a firm opinion on it, because I think that those opinions should more come from people in those communities than than from me. Because if I wanted to die, I know how to die. I know people. I'd figure it out. Okay. Oh, this is actually a really good question. Okay. Thank you, Kelly, for asking this, because this is the perfect segue for this. Okay. So her question is, just curious how much of your time is spent in the funeral home and how much is doing other death positive things. What are the chances of having you in charge of my funeral, etc. I am actually, what you don't know is that today, I haven't been filming this whole thing, but I'm actually vlogging this week. I won't come out next week, it'll come out the week after that, but I'm vlogging a week in my business life to give everyone kind of a sense of what I do every week. Because I think there are some people who think that I'm like quite literally at the desk at the funeral home 24 hours a day, just like waiting to pick up the phone and talk to them when they call. And then there are other people who think I'm splunking through the catacombs of Europe and am never at home. So yeah, we're about to see that go down. Oh, after that whole thing, I wasn't actually filming that at all. Oh no. Vlogging the live stream. This is why I could never be an actual vlogger, because I don't know how to turn on the iPhone camera. It's a shame. But yeah, so look for that, I think, at the end of this month. Wait a second. Looking forward to that vlog. BOKKI. Is it bouquet? Are you the one who did the art of me? Signal yes or no, because it's really amazing. And if so, hello, hi, good to see you. Oh, good. People talking about illness and chronic pain. Good. Talk amongst yourself. That's what I'm talking about. People from within the actual community talking to people. Jonathan asked, have you ever had a family member decide they did not want their family member returned? If so, what do you do? Yeah, that absolutely happens. We have a lot of, we were just talking today about the orphan elderly, and basically people who die really old, so old in fact that even their children have died, and people in their lives have all kind of fallen away and died, and they just don't have really even a next of kin, and they maybe don't have anyone to do something with their ashes. We tend to, in that case, what we might do in some place like California, in a funeral home in California, we might offer them a sea scattering. We might say, why don't we make the permit out for a sea scatter? And yeah, that's how it would go. And we would take those ashes. It's not legal to keep ashes piled up in your funeral home, which I actually really agree with. I think that's a wise idea, to not have ashes piled up in your funeral home, because it's just, I don't know, there's almost a mental thing when you're a funeral director that you have to, it's your job to take care of someone, and it feels like they're in limbo somehow, even though it's just cremated remains. It feels like they're in limbo if you're not moving them out there. So yes, there are definitely people who do not want the ashes or the remains back, and in that case, we typically try to steer them toward a scattering at sea. Oh, it is you. Hi. Okay, I'm gonna link this right now. I'm actually going to share this on my social media because it's very, very cool. But let me see. Yes, here it is. Okay, let me link it right here. Go to the live stream, and I've linked a very cool video of an amazing artist. Hi, thank you. Okay, let's see. We got about, we'll go a little long because, you know, I started 5 minutes late because I could not figure it out. Ashes piled up is bad juju. That's how a lot of horror movies start. When do you sleep, eat, date, binge on Netflix? Seriously, are you working all the time? I used to. I'm much better at that now. I really try to say, you know, after 6 p.m., I cannot just be back here because this is my home office that I'm in right now. I was at the funeral home this morning. Now I'm here in my home office. But since I have a home office, I can just be like, oh, let me just, you know, slide on into the office and sit down at my desk and work for another 4 hours at night. And I have to be like, nope, no, this door is closed. I am out there. I am watching some Netflix. I'm cooking. I don't cook that much. You know, someone will cook for me, or I will just read my book or do some yoga or hang out. And I have to force myself to do that because otherwise I will just, you know, oh, that's good. Press control when you click so you don't lose Caitlin. Ooh, sorry. Woo, party. Crazy in here. Okay. Oh, I'm glad everyone's going to watch the video. That's awesome. Random question. Are you going to get that cat that you mentioned ages ago? I don't know. I have a lot of people. So obviously I grew up with my aunt raising Siamese cats. So I actually have a really positive impression of cat breeders. But I know that it's people now do not like cat breeders, and there are some that are really bad. Like, I totally get that. That's very fair. But I would, of course, like to adopt a cat, and especially, I don't really want a kitten. I would like to adopt an older cat. But many people in my life are allergic to cats, like very allergic to cats. So I can't have them come over, I can't have them hang out, I can't have people come visit me and stay with me because I would have this cat. So I really, if I want to get another cat, I have to get a kind of specific cat. I have to get a Devon Rex or a Cornish Rex or a Sphinx, or essentially a cat with almost no hair. So they don't really have like Devon Rex adoption sites. So I'm kind of weighing, you know, do I go to a breeder because I have to do that? Do I, you know, I don't know. This is a lot of thought for a cat. I also just want to get a crazy like fleet of Pomeranians and call it a day. But, you know, I have a lot of thoughts on that. A Sphinx cat would be very on brand. That's true. A Cornish Rex, a Devon Rex. I think they're all so delightfully evil looking. Big fan. Okay, let's take a couple more questions. Oh my God, yoga with Deathlings live stream. Listen, I did not say that I was good at yoga. I just said that I did yoga. Yoga is obviously, like, when I do it, it's very like sort of painful to watch. I don't think that it would be a fun video for everyone. Here's a great question. When will you, or have you already got an aquamation facility at your work? Someone actually called the funeral home today to ask that question. And I think because I was so, because I was such an advocate for aquamation becoming legalized in California, people are like, oh, you have a machine now, right? I'll just call you and get my aquamation. No, it's actually a full year. So marijuana was legalized in California in 2016. It did not actually become legal until late in 2017 because they need a full year of, I don't even know what they're doing, like financial and environmental assessments through the law. So aquamation will not actually be legal in California, even though it's been signed into law, until I believe the very end of this year or into next year. When that does happen, that's going to be wonderful. I don't think it's going to be the sort of thing where 7 Aquamation machines pop up in California day one. I think it's going to take a little bit longer than that. However, I would absolutely love to have an Aquamation machine as soon as possible. I just don't know how soon that is going to happen. And honestly, the one Aquamation machine that I really want is not fully developed yet. So I'm kind of waiting on that technology to become available as well. So TikTok, Aquamation engineers. Okay. Oh, I'm getting a lot of cat stuff, which is good. Oriental short hairs, death yoga, downward facing corpse. Oh, she doesn't want to hijack the stream with your drawing. No, no, that's much cooler than what I'm talking about. If you didn't have the allergy problem, Silver Whiskers foster program is good. Basically hospice for older pets. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's what I want. I just want, like, because I'm okay with death, I just want very old, feeble cats that I can hold as they take their last breaths and they just put their little paw on my face and go, eh, eh. That's what I want. Screw everyone with an allergy. I'm getting it. Okay. I'm getting a Cornish Rex. If you get a Cornish Rex, I'm sending you cat costumes. Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, there's so many good questions. I might try and save some of them for next time because I do have to get going, unfortunately. Oh, they're so good though. I want to just, when I finally actually get the whole thing going, I'm like, no, we're happy. Let's just hang out. Oh, obesity, the postmortem. Don't like it. Wouldn't watch it if I were you. Okay. All right. I think it's time to go, my friends. You can tell it's also time to go when I'm like, ugh. When's the next stream going to be? That's a good question. Why doesn't everybody write when in April it's good for you? Everybody who's here today gets a leg up on the competition. Yeah, just put when it is good for you to next come to join me in the live stream. And we could also, I mean, there's no, we could keep doing this loosey-goosey format, but we could also, you know, try something different. We could have a theme week. We could have like, 14 cats. Who knows? Okay, keep putting those in. I'll keep this open so I can look at what you say. All right, I'll see you later, everyone. It's been nice talking to you. Goodbye.